We don't know for sure that the exact link is cost, but if you have the highest financial bar, I think it's probably a safe bet that that is a piece of the puzzle. And we need to do that. This Vermont Service Scholarship Program would allow any first Vermonter graduates from Vermont High School, goes to a state college or university, and serves 2 years in AmeriCorps to graduate debt-free. The reason I can do that in our current economy is largely because it would leverage a whole bunch of federal funds that are right now going out of state into other states to be able to come and pay for most of that tuition cost. The third is, job training programs. We've done some of it. We need to do more. But we also need to do early childhood education. Because if we want long-term savings and a workforce that is really ready, we need to start there. The Vermont Business Roundtable has made it their priority. And we can be the demonstration state to make that happen. But we also need to make a change in the business climate in Montpelier. And the first is on healthcare. As I mentioned before, if you're going to have a churn economy and you're going to have innovators, you need to make sure there's affordable healthcare. The way that I would do it is by self-insuring. Self-insure the state. This is something that businesses have done for a long time. As the head of AmeriCorps Vista, I ran a self-insurance program for all 6,000 of our employees. General Motors and I did not do it because it was righteous. We did it because it was the right thing to do to save money and to get the right health care to people at the right time. We have in our state about as many people as General Electric covers in retirees and employees. There is no reason why we can't take advantage of that same kind of savings and economies through self-insuring. But there's also the management culture. And this is going to take some work. Having run a 6,000 person public enterprise and done some transformational work, I know it's possible. But right now in the state of Vermont, there is an incredible lack of trust. Whether it's state employees who somehow feel like they're the enemies and yet are asked to do things on a daily basis to help support the business community. But it's also in the business community where you literally have a crisis of confidence of how we're spending our tax dollars. Because no one knows how we're spending our tax dollars. We are ranked 49th in the country in government transparency. It took two think tanks, one that's a free market think tank and a progressive think tank, coming together to produce the first website that actually showed how some of our tax dollars are being spent. And to this day, they still cannot get a list of the people who we contract with, how much money we spend on those contractors, and what the outcomes are that are expected from those contractors. And it appears it's because it doesn't exist. You cannot turn around a state operation. You can't turn around a business operation if you don't have that fundamental information. And in a state enterprise, particularly a state like Vermont, if we want all Vermonters from all sectors to come together to help us move into a new era and out of the fiscal crisis we're in, you need to be able to make that information available so we can take our unique sense of community and bring all the ideas of Vermonters together to be able to make that happen. You also need to make sure that you are allowing people to work at business speed. It is an embarrassment that you still have to sign physical pieces of paper that move from one office to another in order to start a new business registered in the state of Vermont. That is an embarrassment. There is no reason on earth that that needs to happen. Much less more complicated things, but things that other states have done very, very well, which is to be able to have online, real-time access to where your permit is, your application is in the process. These are all things that help what business people fundamentally want, which is predictability and an understanding of timeline. Having worked with Google across the country, I have seen where states are able to move incredibly quickly in letting you know what you can and you can't do, letting you know online where all of the assets are, whether they're the electrical infrastructure or water and sewer. It's on a map. And you can start to align it for yourself so you can move incredibly quickly. We are in the dark ages as a state, and And as a result, we are not in a place where we can allow businesses to move quickly and take advantage of the incredible number of resources we have, because getting through all of the steps and the hurdles takes way too much time. The final piece is that we need to make the nation's largest investment in energy efficiency. We need to do it for the good of our planet on one side, but the cost of energy in the state of Vermont is high, and I don't see a whole lot of projections showing that it's going to go down anytime soon. What we can do is something that is in the good frugal spirit of Vermont and reduce costs by doing a large-scale energy efficiency investment to reduce costs on the electrical side as well as on the thermal side for residents as well as for commercial real estate owners. And there we go. So the question is, what will a forward-looking Vermont look like? What would this new vision for an economy look like? And I'm going to highlight a few things, and some of these have gotten me into a little trouble with some of my friends, because the fact is that it should look like a younger, more diverse, and larger population. I actually don't believe we have enough people in the state of Vermont, given our current demographics, to be able to support it being a leader in innovation. And I believe that we need between 70 and 100,000 more people. Now, do we need them in downtown Burlington? Probably not. But we have incredible communities with housing capacity across our state, and if we're creating an economy that works for all Vermonters, we can accommodate that kind of growth, particularly for people who love the idea of living in funky downtown places where they can actually walk to get food and a beer and to their job. We have those downtowns that are ready to go. We just need to be proactive about investing in them. We'll see clusters. We'll see thriving four-season tourism that leverages all the parts of our place-based economy. You will see vibrant downtowns, as I mentioned, which have places for people to work as well as live and eat and share ideas, but also a state government that is transparent, flat, and efficient. That's a huge change from where we are now, and one where you need someone who has had experience in building that kind of an enterprise in a public environment to be able to actually make it happen. This plan also allows for jobs now as well as in the future. A lot of the investments and strategies are not ones that are going to happen the first day that I take office as governor. They're going to be much longer term. But the good news is that the proposals we have will create jobs right out of the gate. The investment in the broadband infrastructure, in the energy efficiency effort, in renewable energy, in downtowns, and the redeveloping of that 4 million square feet of abandoned industrial space will put people to work, particularly people who are contractors, which are seeing the highest unemployment rates in our state today. We need that kind of a mini stimulus to make sure that we're getting on the right track and to generate new revenue for our state so we can do the ongoing investment. So then the question is, how do we do it? And we do it through a variety of mechanisms, very few of which actually use general fund dollars. So the first is that we do revenue bonds for two of the biggest new investments. One is for broadband. You do a revenue bond that would be run out of the Vermont Telecom Authority. That revenue bond would be floated to upfront the capital to do the fiber optic deployment. Those that actually take advantage of those resources have two obligations. One is that they actually go to the last mile, and the second is that they keep the pipe open, so that they allow anyone who wants to provide services over that fiber optic network can do so at a fixed wholesale